welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to sit down and just have a little chat about my experience living in Milan and just talk you through some of the life lessons that I learned while I was there. So these are all things that I found to be really important for my personal growth just as a person, and I guess there were unexpected things that came indirectly to me from coming out of my comfort zone and just being in a new situation, being forced into, you know, making decisions on the spot and that kind of thing, asking questions and just being a lot more self-sufficient and independent. So I came up with three main things that were probably the biggest life lessons that I learned living overseas by myself for a year, and I really wanted to share them with you because I honestly had the best experience of my life. 2019 was the most amazing year that I've ever had, and for so many reasons, but if I can share that with some of you guys and encourage you to do a similar thing when we can, of course. And honestly, when I look back at videos of me this time a year and a bit ago before I left to go to Italy, I just feel like such a different person. And I know everyone says that and it's really kind of a cliche thing to say. I'm fully aware of that, but it's also undeniable that there have been significant changes in my life and the way that I go about certain things, my self-confidence and everything like that. So I've come up with three things that I wanted to share with you guys today, and I'm just gonna get right into those now. So the first thing is that it made me stress way less about money. Now, I spent almost 2 years really committed to saving for my trip to Italy, because when I went into my degree, when I chose it, I knew that with international studies, your fourth year, so the fourth year of your degree, you spend in another country. And even though I didn't know that it was Italy yet, even though it was something that was really far into the future, or it didn't seem like it was ever gonna happen really, it came along really fast. And I was so grateful that I had put in the time and effort to consistently build my money, grow my money, and make sure that I had enough to sustain myself for a year, because I knew I wasn't going to be working, etc. Having that kind of relationship with money, like just being really consistent and knowing in the back of my mind that it's a tool for experiences, it's a tool in life to help facilitate your own growth, both personally, professionally and financially. I feel as though you begin to see it differently. I think before I went overseas, I had a very different relationship with money. Like I really, I was trying to hold on to as much as I can. I didn't want to spend anything, and I was really focused and set on that goal, which I'm really grateful for, because it gave me honestly the best year of my life. But it also made me realize that if I can save that much then, and I don't earn much money, guys, like I earn the normal amount for someone my age, that I can do it again. And if I just put in that time and that effort and that commitment, I can build that money again and use it towards something that I want to do again, that brings me happiness, that brings me joy. And I think shifting my mindset to an abundant mentality when it comes to money, rather than a lack mentality, that's a really important thing to note as well, is that you don't want to view money as like something that you can't get back. Like money, all it is just a tool to help you in life, to get, to do the things you want to do, to feel free, to feel like you can go out and experience the world. It's not something that you should feel like you really need to hold on to, and it's like this precious resource that you can't get back. Because even though it is important to make cautious decisions when it comes to money, and I'm fully aware of that, I fully know the value of money. I've been, working since I was 14 years old. But at the same time, I feel like last year, having all of those amazing experiences that, money was able to bring me, ultimately made me realize this is what money is for. Like, this is the kind of life that I want to live, and these are the experiences that I want to have. And all I have to do is put in a little bit of time, a little bit of commitment. This is what I want. This is you know, this is what I want, these are the kind of things that I want to spend my money on, and holding on to it isn't going to do me any good really. And you know, I have savings goals, I have, you know, accounts that I don't want to touch and that are important to save for later, but generally speaking, I found that I was able to save so much more money when I let go of the stress around money, and I just made myself constantly remember that, you know, I can get this back and this can bring me more experiences, etc, etc. So it definitely made me lose the stress towards money, and that's going to lead me on to my next point, which is that it made me more self-sufficient and resourceful. Even though, you know, I guess I've been like that for a really long time, or at least I've tried my absolute best to be. When I was 14, which was when I think it's like, well, that's the legal age to get a job, at least where I am in Australia, is 14 and 9 months or something. I got my first job at McDonald's, and I think I was literally earning like $8 an hour or something like that. But you know, like, I was still $8 an hour more than I was earning before, you know, and I made a conscious effort to put that money away and let my savings grow and grow and grow. Even though it did take a couple of years, I managed to save enough to buy my first car, to buy my first iPhone, and eventually, you know, you become more self-sufficient, you learn the value of money, you learn how to become more resourceful as well, which is an important point to note, because even though I was earning absolute minimum wage, I still put that commitment in, and bought myself a car, and I was only 15, you know, like, it's not about how much you earn necessarily, it's what you do with what you earn. And even though I was getting like literally $100 a week when I was 14 years old, that was $100 more than I was earning before, you know, like, you just have to look at it like that. And I didn't have anything to pay for back then, you know, I was in like year 8 or year 9 or something at school, and that's all I had to do. I just had to go to school, go to work, and I really tried to make the most of that time. So I feel like I was quite resourceful before I went to Italy. However, when I was there, as you can imagine, the first time that I moved out of home ever, and the first time I moved out of home was in another country. So my self-sufficiency skills and my ability to make use of the skills that I had and what I knew, I had to really, well, I had to find somewhere to live. I had to figure out how to fill out certain documents by myself in another language. It was really, really difficult, and being resourceful isn't necessarily doing things completely by yourself. Another thing as well, which is the importance of asking questions, is like making use of the help that's available to you, because even though a large part of being independent and self-sufficient is relying on yourself and everything, it doesn't mean that you can't ask people questions. It doesn't mean that you can't seek for opportunities for people to provide you with information that you may not know yet, because that's just another step to getting to that next level of independence, to that next level of self-sufficiency. And that's one thing that I really, really learned living in Italy, living overseas, is that especially finding my own apartment, that was the most stressful thing that I've ever done. And I remember frantically sitting at my laptop like, oh my gosh, like, I can't find anything, everything's in Italian, what am I gonna do? And I was freaking out. And so I was staying in an Airbnb for the first month that I was in Italy, and I reached out to my Airbnb landlady, I guess you would say, my Airbnb host, and I just asked her, look, what are some good real estate sites? Can you help me draft a letter? Can you help me apply for this place, or help me ring these people, or something like that? And she was really, really, really helpful. And that was just another thing that I kind of went out of my way to do, to make the situation, you know, less stressful for myself, because I didn't have those people around me, those familiar people around me to help me anymore. I really had to go out of my way and ask people to give me information, and you know, I had to actively seek that out myself. That was an opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone, to grow personally. And you know, that's what got me through those first few weeks, because that was just full of admin. I remember it was an absolute nightmare. Once that was all over, I was so happy I could just relax into my new life and actually just enjoy it. And I touched on as well The third thing, which is the importance of asking questions. I think there's something really powerful about being thrust into situations where you're forced to make decisions on the spot and you're forced to just decide then and there what is the best thing for you. Like I said before, I was so used to having someone around that was familiar that I could just bounce questions off really quickly, you know. Same time zone, I was living at home with my parents. I had people around me that I could use for backup, if that makes sense. And you know, when you're overseas, you don't have that. Like, even though you have Facebook and you have messages and stuff, you're on different time zones and they might not be available when you need them, etc, etc. So you really have to have that extra layer of bravery, self-sufficiency and resourcefulness to be able to survive it. If you want help, you have to ask a stranger. You have to get out of your comfort zone and you really have to sit in that uncomfortability and be okay with it, honestly, because without that, I wouldn't have made it through. I would have just fallen into a ball, into a heap on the floor, and I probably wouldn't have made any friends. You know, if I didn't go to orientation, I wouldn't have met the Australian girls that were my roommates. If I didn't sign up to the buddy program, I wouldn't have met my buddy who helped me get my Metro card, who helped me print things at uni, who I met so many people from. I actually met my now boyfriend through that buddy, So it's just all of these things start to fall into place when you just, you know, you ask questions and you seek out those opportunities. You really need to take the steps to make those opportunities open to you, because they're always there. They're always there, but they're only open to you if you put out that energy that you want to receive them. So on that note, I'm going to end this video here. I really hope it was helpful and insightful to some of you guys, because those were 3 really important lessons that I learned from living overseas for a year. And it really helped me to grow as a person and to be really kind of mentally strong and just believe in my own strength and capabilities. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. That was my video for today, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye.